It was November 24th, 1971, Thanksgiving Eve. Passengers at Portland International Airport were boarding Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305, a short 30-minute trip to Seattle. Among them was a tall, neatly dressed man in his mid-40s wearing a dark business suit, a black tie, and a white shirt. He carried a simple black briefcase and wore sunglasses. He bought his ticket under the name Dan Cooper, later misreported by the media as D. B. Cooper. He paid $20 cash for his ticket and walked onto the plane, blending in with the other 35 passengers. Once the plane was in the air, Cooper ordered a bourbon and soda. He lit a cigarette because back then, you could smoke on planes. Then, just after takeoff, he handed a note to a flight attendant named Florence Schaffner. At first, she thought it was just another businessman slipping her his number. She casually tucked the note into her pocket without reading it. But then Cooper leaned in and quietly said, "Miss, you'd better read that note. I have something important to show you." Schaffner's hands shook as she unfolded the paper. It was neatly written in all capital letters, stating that he had a device in his briefcase and wanted her to sit beside him. She followed his instructions calmly. Cooper then partially opened the briefcase, revealing what appeared to be a collection of red cylinders connected by wires and a power source. His requests were clear and specific. $200,000 in cash, roughly $1.5 million today, 4 parachutes, 2 primary and 2 backup, and a fuel truck ready in Seattle to prepare the plane for further travel. Schaffner relayed the message to the pilots, who immediately contacted air traffic control. The FBI was alerted, and the airline agreed to comply with Cooper's demands. For the next 30 minutes, the plane circled over Puget Sound while authorities gathered the money and parachutes. Meanwhile, Cooper remained calm and polite. He paid his drink tab, ordered another bourbon, and even made small talk with the flight attendants. One of them later recalled that he was not nervous at all. He was collected, polite, and oddly professional. After 2 hours, Flight 305 finally landed at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. The airline staff handed over the ransom money, 10,000 unmarked $20 bills, and 4 parachutes. In return, Cooper released all 36 passengers and 2 flight attendants. But he kept the pilot, co-pilot, flight engineer, and 1 flight attendant on board. His next order, take off again. Cooper instructed the pilot to head toward Mexico City, but under highly specific conditions. He requested the plane remain at a low altitude, no higher than 10,000 feet, and fly at a reduced speed of around 200 miles per hour. He insisted that the landing gear stay deployed and that the cabin remain unpressurized. The flight crew found the instructions unusual, but Cooper seemed remarkably knowledgeable about aviation, almost as if he had military or parachuting experience. At 8:00 p.m., Flight 305 departed from Seattle, heading south. But somewhere over the dense forests of Washington near the Lewis River, Cooper did something that stunned authorities and the public alike. Wearing only a business suit, loafers, and a raincoat, he strapped on one of the parachutes, secured the cash, and opened the rear stairway, a risky maneuver rarely attempted during flight. Then, at 8:13 p.m., in the middle of a storm with powerful winds swirling around the aircraft, he jumped into the cold night air and vanished without a trace. The crew landed the plane safely in Reno, Nevada. When FBI agents boarded the aircraft, they found Cooper's black tie and tie clip, his cigarette butts, and 2 of the parachutes. He had only taken 1 with him, but Cooper himself was gone. What followed was one of the largest manhunts in U.S. history. Federal agents scoured the dense forests of Washington and Oregon for months, but they found no sign of him. No parachute, no body, no trace at all. Then, in 1980, a young boy camping near the Columbia River uncovered something remarkable. $5,800 in deteriorating $20 bills buried in the sand. The serial numbers matched the ransom money linked to Cooper. The discovery raised more questions than answers. How did the money end up there, and what happened to the rest of it? Over the years, countless theories emerged. Some believe Cooper survived the jump and lived in hiding, while others are convinced he perished in the wilderness. His deep understanding of aviation and parachuting led many to suspect he had military or special operations training. Others speculated that he may have worked for Boeing or the airline industry, given how precisely he manipulated the 727's unique features. A few even suggested he had help, that someone might have picked him up by boat as part of a well-planned escape. For over 5 decades, investigators, journalists, and amateur sleuths have tried to unravel the mystery of D.B. Cooper. Hundreds of suspects have been considered, but no arrests were ever made. In 2016, the FBI officially closed the case, calling it one of America's greatest unsolved mysteries. To this day, no one knows who he truly was, where he went, or whether he survived. But one thing remains certain. On that cold November night in 1971, a man in a business suit pulled off the unthinkable and vanished without a trace.